We are diving deep into some truly wild source material today. It details nature's most extreme, maybe even shocking and sometimes outright repulsive biological adaptations.
Yeah, we're definitely moving beyond the usual stuff like camouflage.
Right, forget elegant predators for a moment. We're looking at organisms, plants, and fungi mostly that use, well, chemical warfare, explosive pressure.
And smell so foul, they basically trick flies into thinking they found a dead body.
It's quite the collection.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's kind of an expedition into nature's bizarre side. And our mission for you, the listener, is really to get the genius behind the grossness, you could say.
The why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why does evolution go down these weird roads? It's because these very specialized adaptations solve two massive problems. How do you spread your offspring?
Dispersal, right.
And how do you get the resources you need when everyone else wants them to?
Okay, let's unpack that. Starting with maybe the ultimate strategy of repulsion, the stench. We have to kick off with the stinkhorn fungus. Our sources, they describe it looking like something H.R. Geiger might have dreamed up.
Yeah, that's a good description.
And smelling like this horrible mix of rotten eggs and just putrid meat, possibly one of the stinkiest things on Earth.
It's up there. But that smell, that awful odor, it isn't an accident. It's pure reproductive genius, actually.
How so?
Well, the stinkhorn secretes this stuff called gleba. Think of it like a smelly, sticky jelly full of spores.
Gleba. Okay.
And flies are immediately drawn to that rotting smell. They think, aha, lunch, decomposing flesh.
So they land, they eat.
They consume the gleba. And we're talking serious numbers. A single fly can ingest over 1 million spores in just one go.
Whoa. Okay, tell me more about this gleba. Is it just stinky spore goo?
Pretty much, yeah. And the genius part is it often has a laxative effect on the flies.
No way.
Yep. So the flies quickly disperse those spores through defecation, often quite far from the original fungus. It's this rapid, super effective transport system, all fueled by disgust, basically.
That is bizarrely clever. And the life cycle is strange too, right? They start as this sort of ball.
Yeah, like a golf ball-sized thing called a witch's egg. Apparently, some are even edible at that stage. Tastes a bit like radish, I read. But then they just erupt. One common species, Phallus symbioticus, great name, by the way, can go from a 5-centimeter egg to a 30-centimeter tall fungus in under 2 days.
That's incredibly fast growth, or rapid deployment.
And the variety in how they look is amazing, too. You've got the devil's fingers, which genuinely looks like something from a horror film, these red tentacle things bursting out.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. Creepy.
Then you get the veiled lady, which is actually surprisingly popular in East Asia. It's got this delicate, lacy skirt structure. People use it in stir fries.
Stir fries, really?
Yeah, and it's even considered an aphrodisiac there.
Right.
So huge contrast in appearance, but the same basic trick.
Yeah.
Use a powerful smell to get your spores out there.
Okay, sticking with the stench strategy, let's move from fungus to flower, the big one. Rafflesia arnoldii, the corpse flower.
Ah, yes, the world's record holder.
The largest single flower on the planet, right? Weighing up to 7 kilos, stretching 1 meter across.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And its whole strategy is built on deception. What's really crucial here is that it's a parasite. It has no stems, no leaves, no roots of its own that you can see.
So where does it live?
It grows entirely inside these woody vines, the tetrastigma vines. For about 10 months, it's just hidden away in there.
10 months inside a vine.
Before it even thinks about blooming. And then, when it does bloom, the flower itself only lasts for less than a week.
Wow, nearly a year of prep for just a few days of showtime. And it mimics rotting flesh perfectly, those thick, red, kind of warty petals.
Right, the whole look is part of the illusion. And there's a theory that those spiky bits inside, the processes, actually produce heat.
Heat? Why?
Thermogenesis. It might help intensify that rotting smell, make it travel further to attract the carrion flies it needs for pollination.
It's such an extreme commitment.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the Rafflesia really highlights the vulnerability that comes with being so specialized. It depends entirely on that one type of host vine.
And it's already rare and endangered.
Exactly. So when deforestation takes out those specific vines in its habitat, say in Southeast Asia,
Rafflesia has nowhere to go.
Precisely. Its amazing, unique adaptation becomes its biggest weakness when the environment changes. It's a precarious existence.
Okay, let's pivot now. From organisms that rely on smell to attract helpers, to ones that take matters into their own pods, explosive physics.
Yeah, let's talk about pressure, starting with the squirting cucumber, Ecbalium elaterium.
Squirting cucumber? Sounds harmless enough.
Don't let the name fool you. This Mediterranean plant is basically a tiny organic water cannon. It builds up incredible osmotic pressure inside its fruit by accumulating water. We're talking up to 27 atmospheres.
27, what's the comparison?
That's the pressure you'd feel diving 260 meters underwater. Absolutely crushing pressure.
Okay, wow. I feel like I need decompression just hearing about it. So what happens when it goes off?
When it's disturbed, shaken, or it naturally detaches from its stalk, the fruit ruptures at the base where it was attached. It violently ejects its seeds and sticky fluid.
How far?
Up to 6 meters away. And it actually has recoil, like a little seed Gatling gun.
Nature's artillery. Amazing. I read it was used in folk medicine.
It was, yeah, going way back to the ancient Assyrians. But modern science shows it's pretty poisonous. The undiluted juice can cause nasty inflammation, vomiting, pink eye.
Oof. Okay, so admire from a distance?
Definitely one to leave alone.
Right, another explosive launcher, Himalayan balsam, also called policeman's helmet.
Or, touch me not, its Latin name, Impatiens glandulifera, literally means impatient. And for good reason.
Why is that?
The slightest touch on a ripe seed pod triggers it. The pod walls instantly curl inwards, explosively.
Being seeds everywhere.
Exactly, up to 7 meters away, which for a plant is a huge distance. Imagine a palm tree shooting coconuts almost that far relative to its size.
And that launch mechanism makes it a problem, doesn't it?
A massive problem. It's become a really aggressive, invasive species across the northern hemisphere. Each plant can grow up to 3 meters tall and produce something like 800 seeds.
Wow.
It just completely chokes out native plants. And then because it dies back completely in the winter, it leaves riverbanks bare, which leads to faster erosion.
A botanical menace. Are people fighting back?
They are. You get volunteer groups, the balsam bashers, who go out and pull the plants up. But more strategically, scientists in the UK are using biological control.
Like what?
A specific type of rust fungus that only attacks the Himalayan balsam. It doesn't harm native plants. So it's like fighting biology with biology.
A targeted weapon. Interesting. That moves us nicely from mechanics to, well, the hunters.
Yes, the carnivorous plants. Let's start underwater with the bladderwort, Utricularia. These are rootless plants found all over the world in wet places.
And they hunt. How?
They have these tiny, tiny sacs or bladders, only 1 to 6 millimeters across. They're the smallest traps of any carnivorous plant.
So small? How do they work?
They pump water out to create negative pressure inside the bladder, like a vacuum. Tiny trigger hairs stick out, and if a small creature like zooplankton or a mosquito larva bumps into them,
Sap.
will suck. The trapdoor flies open, and the negative pressure instantly sucks the prey and surrounding water into the bladder. It happens incredibly fast, milliseconds.
Wow, a microscopic vacuum trap.
And what's neat is the digestion. The bladders aren't empty. They actually contain helpful microbes, bacteria, algae that live inside and help break down the meal. It's like a tiny self-contained digestive system.
Amazing. Okay, back on land, we have the butterwort pinguicula. This one's like flypaper.
Exactly. Its leaves are covered in this really sticky, gluey slime called mucilage, produced by special glands. Little insects like gnats and aphids get stuck fast.
And then digested?
Yep. Other glands secrete digestive enzymes. And interestingly, the more the insect struggles, the more mucilage the plant produces.
Grim but effective.
But here's a surprise. Butterworts aren't just carnivores. They're technically mixotrophs.
Mixotrophs, meaning...
They're kind of omnivorous in plant terms. Research found they produce alpha amylase. That's an enzyme we humans use to break down starches.
So they eat carbs, plant carbs.
Yeah, they can actually digest things like pollen or little bits of plant debris that land on their sticky leaves. So they're getting nutrients from insects and plant matter. The steak and potato plant of the carnivorous world, you might say.
I like that. Okay. From hunters to pure parasites, the vampires of the plant world. Dodder, cuscuta.
Got her.
Yeah.
Yes, this one is fascinating because it's pretty much given up on photosynthesis entirely. That's why it's usually yellow or orange, not green. It doesn't need chlorophyll.
Because it steals everything it needs, like a vampire.
Exactly. It has to find a host plant quickly after it sprouts. The little stem whips around counterclockwise.
It lassos.
Kind of. It's searching. It needs to latch onto a host within about 3 to 5 days, or it just dies.
High stakes. What happens if it finds one?
It physically attaches itself using pectin, the same stuff that makes jam set like a glue. Then it grows these specialized structures called haustoria.
Haustoria.
Think of them like little prods or needles. They penetrate the host plant's vascular system, tapping right in to steal water and nutrients.
Okay, but how does a tiny, non-photosynthesizing stem find a host? It doesn't have eyes or a brain.
Chemical signals. It's amazing. Research shows dodder can actually sniff out its preferred host plants by detecting specific airborne chemicals they release.
It can smell its victims. That's slightly terrifying.
It has a discerning palate, and once attached, it spreads fast about 7 centimeters a day. Plus, because it often connects multiple plants, it can actually transmit plant viruses between them. Nature's super spreader.
Wow. There's another parasite group too, right? The higher species?
Yes, these are holoparasites, meaning they are 100% dependent on their host, usually tapping into the host's roots underground. They look so strange, often mistaken for fungi.
Like the corpse flower again?
Similar strategy, yeah. They often emit foul odors that rotting flesh smell to attract their pollinators, which are usually beetles in this case.
And they use heat too.
Some do, yes. Thermogenesis again, generating a bit of warmth to help that stink travel further and lure in the beetles. It's all about manipulating other organisms.
Okay, this next one shifts the focus a bit. From just weird survival tactics to something, well, globally important. The bleeding tooth fungus. Hydnellum pecki.
Visually, this one is something else. When it's young and growing actively, it can bleed these bright red droplets.
It looks like it's crying blood. How?
It's a process called guttation. Basically, when there's high root pressure, excess water gets forced out through pores. In this fungus, that water mixes with a specific red pigment it produces, hence the crimson blood.
Is it dangerous? Poisonous?
Surprisingly, no. It's apparently incredibly bitter, so you wouldn't want to eat it, but not poisonous. And that red pigment contains a compound called atramentin.
Atramentin? What's that?
It's being researched. Scientists are looking into it as a potential anticoagulant, maybe even for treating bacterial pneumonia. Plus, you can use the fungus as a dye for fabrics mixed beige, blue, or green.
So a bitter bleeding fungus with medicinal potential. But you said globally important. How?
Right. The real importance isn't what you see above ground. It's what's happening hidden in the soil.
Okay.
This is a mycorrhizal fungus. That means it's underground network of thread-like structures, the mycelia.
The wood wide web stuff.
Exactly. It forms this symbiotic partnership with tree roots. They exchange nutrients, water, maybe even information. It connects the forest floor.
And that network does more than just trade nutrients.
Oh, vastly more. It's acting like a planetary defense system we barely acknowledge. Some recent research highlighted in our sources estimates that these underground fungal networks, they store something like 36% of the world's annual fossil fuel emissions.
Wait, 36%? That's huge.
It's staggering. 13 gigatons of carbon dioxide sequestered every single year, locked away in these fungal networks underground.
13 gigatons. Wow.
Think about it. We focus so much on forests above ground as carbon sinks, which they are. But this massive invisible biological system beneath our feet is doing an incredible amount of heavy lifting in regulating our climate, hoarding carbon.
And the irony is?
The crushing irony is that this vital system, this carbon guardian, is under threat. Nitrogen pollution, mainly from burning fossil fuels and from agricultural fertilizers, is disrupting these delicate soil ecosystems.
Killing the fungi.
Yes, it's known to harm or kill off these mycorrhizal fungi, upsetting that natural balance and potentially releasing that stored carbon. We're damaging the invisible systems that help keep the planet stable.
That's deeply concerning. Okay, one last category. Pushing the boundaries of what we even consider life. Slime molds.
The wonderfully weird slime molds. Not plants, not animals, not fungi. Technically, they're single-celled amoebae.
But they don't stay single-celled, right?
Nope. They can aggregate, coil together, and form this single huge oozing mass called a plasmodium, sometimes nicknamed dog vomit, slime mold, charmingly.
Dog vomit. Lovely. But forget the brainless amoeba idea. These things show intelligence.
Genuine intelligence, yes. Despite having no brain or central nervous system, it's remarkable.
Like what? What can they do?
Well, experiments show they can find the absolute most efficient pathways between multiple food sources. They can solve complex, maze-like problems, essentially mapping networks in a way that mirrors things like Tokyo's subway system design.
A single-celled organism designed a subway map, metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically, yes, but the efficiency is real. And even more amazing, they demonstrate learning. They can get used to something unpleasant like salt in their path, figure out how to deal with it, and then they can teach that adaptation to another slime mold just by fusing with it. They share the learned information.
Mind blown. Okay, so we've really covered a lot today. Foul smells, exploding seeds, micro vacuums, parasitic snipers, these intelligent blobs, and world-saving fungi.
It's quite the tour. I think the big takeaway is just the sheer ingenuity of adaptation, the complexity, the strangeness. It really shows that evolution doesn't always take the simple route.
It finds extreme solutions.
Often the most extreme, specialized path to solve fundamental problems like survival and reproduction.
So what does this all mean for you, listening? Well, maybe next time you're outside, you see a weird mushroom or just a common vine climbing a wall.
Remember the hidden dramas, the high-pressure launches, the chemical warfare, the microscopic hunts, and those vast invisible networks under your feet.
Yeah, working silently. Which leads to a final thought.
Given that incredible but mostly invisible role that mycorrhizal fungi play, storing 13 gigatons of CO2 yearly, it really makes you wonder, what other absolutely essential complex biological systems are we unknowingly relying on for planetary survival?
Systems hidden away, maybe in the deep oceans or deserts or just the soil beneath us.
And, more urgently perhaps, how quickly might we be damaging or destroying them through things like pollution, climate change, habitat destruction, before we even fully understand what they do for us?